Welcome back, friends, to APAC North. Game number 3 out of 4 is about to begin. TALON versus FAV Gaming. Again, classic Korea versus Japan. And so far, Japanese teams have been having a pretty good time. We'll see if things can be kept up here with FAV Gaming that have surprised everybody over the past 2 Playdays. They pulled 5 points out of them. Not too bad, being literally at 0. It was their first win in 6 months. That's insane. They gathered up the point. They won the Playday after. So is this the roster that we really have to eye, Anne?
Well, in regards of keeping other teams out of the major, sure. They got 2 really good games over the past 2 weeks, indeed, like you mentioned. We had Damwon Kia first, and then we had Retect after. Keeping Retect and Damwon Kia simply out of the major with that. And now the question is, can they keep up that good momentum in regards of them winning games? Specifically, in that last game, I feel like there were 2 players very, very influential. We've seen Shin, for example, be really good against Damwon Kia too. And later on, against Retect, he was very influential too. And we saw go off there too. Some players had a slower start, but eventually they came back and, well, they got the 8-7 victory.
I'm really curious about this team because there was a moment in time where I was very critical of this team, where it felt like they didn't communicate, where it felt like there was a big desync between positioning, it felt like basically people have a strat on a paper and then they just do the strat on paper and nothing else. No adaptation, no talking, no nothing really. But they seem to turn it around. Even if the last 2 games that they've won have been scrappy, they've absolutely turned it around and they've looked much more like a complete team.
All right, let's talk about their opponents then, TALON, because they have not had the best success, but they did gather 7 points, so that's 2 wins and an OT loss.
Yeah, and especially in that last game, they showed some really good gameplay against Fnatic. They were together to eliminate a smoke in Christmas, for example, and they were a really annoying team to play against. Some players played like they absolutely had no fear in them, pushing after they were droned out. Misa lurking in the bakery door for as long as it felt like an eternity, which basically kept Fnatic from entering Piano and taking that control. And, well, they basically put Fnatic into playing very slow attacks, and which eventually helped them win out that game.
I think TALON have shown other teams too much respect. If you look at who they've won against and who they've lost against the big teams, they've won against the smaller teams by quite comfortable margins. And I think we know they've got it in them to go head-to-head with these big teams. And, you know, we would expect them to be winning again today against FAV, but it's kind of the big games is where we judge them, and that's where ultimately they failed, and they'll look back on this stage and feel like they failed because they've got some really good siege inside of them. I watch them and I think, yeah, this can be a really good team. It's just about finding that consistency and keeping that composure when they're playing against the big teams.
It's odd to say because it was the same in 2021, not just in 22. Now we're like, oh my God, TALON, they could really make it. Remember stage 1 of 21, stage 2, 3, and stage 1 and 2 in this year. Good start, then very quickly teetering, like you said, Jack, against tough opponents. That's usually how it's going to go. And now very more difficult that there's only 2 spots for the teams that make it from APAC North. So what about our map for this series? I wonder what you guys are expecting. I'm not going to look. Tell me.
Well, can I still say though what I
that's what I'm asking.
So I thought the first map that was going to be banned in this ban phase would be Theme Park. And guess where we're going to? I completely predicted this one wrong, but there's a really good reason why. Right, I'll explain it. This is TALON's permaban. It's the map that they ban a lot, and where it seems that, well, FAV don't really ban it themselves, so as long as FAV doesn't ban it, we might end up going to the map. It usually, well, it gets banned against them. It's left out now, simply because TALON didn't ban it. Both teams have played it once past 4 months, and they've lost it. TALON has a pretty decent attack and win rate in the game that they lost. It really was their poor defenses that led them to lose that. But for FAV, it is their worst attack and win rate map.
It's always weird to see somebody pull out a permaban. I mean, especially in a game that I say, you know, somewhat doesn't matter, but I guess that's what you're going to get is teams feel a little bit more expressive. Like, scrims are one thing, like we say, officials are another thing. Get it played in official, get it under the belt inside a tier 1 and see how it goes.
Exactly. I mean, if you haven't shown it yet, this game doesn't really matter that much in regards to standings in the scene. Well, just play it now. I mean, you can hide other maps that you had plans for the future.
Yeah, I mean, for the next time they'll be playing, I mean, there'll be quals, but then, you know, maybe next year there's so much time then, or until then, metagame could have shifted completely. We don't know anything about it. So yeah, that's something that you can't really predict. So final thoughts on this before we head into the match. It's just being rated up as we speak right now. Is there a team with an advantage going into this map when we look at playstyle, operator bans that can factor into it, and now that we know that it's theme park?
I think stylistically, a criticism that I've had of FAV all stage has been they've been quite rigid. They've not really been working around team play and flexibility. Now, theme park requires a lot of teamwork, a lot of flexibility, especially when you're clearing that top cache side across from Dragon. If you're going to do a full clear on basically all of the sites, that's where you will start, or the cafe side. You need the teamwork to get the initial foothold in, and that's where I do worry for FAV when they do come to the attacks.
Yes, and that's where I think the big, well, advantage lies for TALON, because we know that attacks on this map can be really difficult to deal with, but they have two of the most planters out of the entire league on their team. So as long as you have that consistent win factor for yourself, where you can get the plant down, where you can successfully win out those attacks, it could be a very easy game for them.
Yeah, if you had to give me a, like, who's going to win it right now, I would say that I would expect TALON to consistently be able to enter into the map and FAV not to. And with theme park, that is the name of the game. So if one can do it consistently and one can't, then there's going to be an issue.
What players are we watching for?
Oh, any of them, Milosh. Pick a player and I'll watch for him.
The thing is, if you look at the side of FAV, it's a player that steps up where you don't necessarily expect it. Shin, who's on the more supportive role, which has been consistently stepping up over the past 2 games, really putting in an effort, been the MVP against them on Kiev, for example, which is where you don't really expect it to come from. On the other side of TALON, I would say Demic, though. He's 5th right now, all over APAC North in regards of KD. He's 2nd in entry, so that is where those, well, hopefully successful entries for TALON will start coming from.
He's been having a great stage as Demic. Really impressive. Especially after the kind of dip off in stage 2 as well, to come back in stage 3. And they seem to like be a stage by stage team where, again, it was like stage 2, 1 step backwards, stage 3, a couple of steps forwards, especially for Demic.
Okay, overall, so support players got to show up. Talked about, you know, front lines got to show up in this game. In the grand scheme of things, like we said, it doesn't really mean much. The 2 teams trialing, going to a map that nobody's expected, including you two. So there you go. Did you expect something different, Jack?
I did not expect theme park. I'll put it that way.
Okay, fair enough. And so now we don't really have an established meta for theme park, do we?
I think inside of APAC North, it becomes very different as well. You know, you look at it, at how the site choices are played internationally as well. And, you know, I love to pull my statistics from across the world. And you see the site choices where EU will refuse to go to initiation office, basically because it's very hard to defend inside of the EU meta. Whereas NA, they will play that site and don't choose to play the Juggernaut meta. And then APAC is kind of this weird mix of just absolutely everything because it's really expressive league, right? So it's going to be... theme park's always a good one because I think you need really good team cohesion on it. And whichever way you play it, you've got to have that as a core fundamental to play it.
Yes, specifically on the attacks, because on defense, well, we know how that goes. But attack, you have to be able to be flexible. You have to have a partial of your team come from one side of the map and then have that one player on the other side closing off any rotates, any potential lurkers. And if you can't construct that as a team, you might have a big problem. And if you're trying to force through the map as an entire unit, you might face against those really difficult pinpoints that you can't really get past because if someone's constantly pushing you in the face. And we've seen, for example, TALON play really aggressive or be very annoying, rather, against Fnatic, where they were not really allowing them any piece of control over the map. And if they do it again today, then FAV might have a really difficult time.
Okay, our lobby's ready. Light has finally joined it, so just putting it out there. Thank you very much, Fresh and we're all set to go for our next game. It's FAV versus TALON. I don't even know which camera to go for this one. We got Demo, and Ollie take you through it. Enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our final APAC Playday of the stage. I'm joined here by Demo. We just had the desk break down and set us up for our upcoming match, third match of the day. We've got a little bit of a TALON action here. On paper, as the desk has already said, this game, whilst it doesn't mean a great deal, there's still things going on here. You know, we're going to a new map Demo, a map that neither of these 2 teams has really played too much this stage.
It's die for the badge. You've got to die to get 3 points.
It's been less than a minute. It's been less than a minute and we're already coming out with that.
It's true though, big game. Get the points.
Points do mean prizes, although the prizes on offer here are really just placements. Obviously, with Fnatic's loss earlier on today, TALON can jump up a place in the leaderboard.
Even though it's a game that does mean very little, you still, as a competitive player, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know how you view playing Siege as a game, or just really anything in general.
Anything competitive, yeah.
Anything competitive, no matter what it is, how big or small, I always want to win.
Yep.
I'm the worst to pick for a charity match. Because it's supposed to be, oh, it's charity, oh, it's supposed to be nice and fun, oh, it's supposed to be good. All I want to do is win. Doesn't matter what it is, all I want to do is win. That's just the killer mentality that I have.
I'm sure there's a song around that.
I would hope that the competitive players in this game would have that same mentality where it doesn't matter what it is, you want to win. That's all you want to do is win.
Exactly, and it's the difference between a scrim and an official, and we're seeing these two teams face off on an official on Theme Park. A couple of bans coming on through, Thatcher, Nook and Mirror. No real surprise. I mean, it may be a little bit of a surprise there with the Thatcher ban. Obviously, Theme Park does have a little bit of bandit trick potential, but it's often easily navigated around. We got the Nook ban there as to stop any sort of sneaky plays. And a Vigil ban. It's Tekka's Town, Demo.
When was the last time I seen a Vigil ban, and when was the last time I seen a Vigil? Probably the best way to put it. You don't see Vigil anymore.
We saw a Vigil last week, I'm sure.
Oh, the one time out of 1,000 potential games.
No, but it's been there.
Vigil isn't really that good, and the reason why is I see him as a very selfish operator, because essentially his gadget is only going to benefit him and him only. That's just the way it is. Of course, you can make the argument saying, oh, what about an operator like Oryx? We see Oryx a lot, but his gadget is also, again, very selfish. What does he have as a secondary weapon? A shotgun. There we go. He's valuable immediately. Vigil doesn't get that priority.
No, Vigil, of course, gets the impacts. But
Boss G to do rotates, perhaps?
Nah, grow up, man. That's a very soft ban.
No way you've just dropped a grow up with the cast. Surely not.
It's a very soft ban. But maybe FAV are thinking, we're kicking off on the defense. We'll reap the rewards of 6 rounds with essentially 1 defender ban in the mirror.
Interesting lineup for a basement. No wall denial, which is probably the big thing that's kind of jumping off to me. Wall denial, of course, for the basement is crucial. You're dealing with 6 reinforced walls into that site. I don't think is there another bomb site that has that many ways in? I don't think there is.
Demo, do you think they've got enough impact grenades?
Jeez Louise.
I'm worried.
Attackers are heading out.
10 isn't enough.
Unless you're going to impact trick off all of the walls, which again is a possibility.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But they also banned the Thatcher.
Yeah.
It's a mind game. It's something that Talon are no doubt going to be scratching their heads over at some point in the round. Let's see how Talon choose to approach. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the information game, yes, you've got a couple of Evil Eye cameras, but you've not got bulletproofs, you've not got barbed wire, you've not got shields to play behind. You see this position here just outside of Cash on the little 90. That's a very popular position for a shield. But it looks as though we're seeing a lot more aggression come out here as a quick swing will be dealt with. Lisa shuts down Yura, and that is going to be our opener.
We've mentioned before about Theme Park, where man advantage is so crucial because it is a big map. There's a lot to do. There needs to be a lot of crossfires be established by defenders, giving away early picks to attackers, and then losing one less player with a gun to hold said crossfires. Like, if you look at the actual bomb site that they're defending, if walls don't get opened up, the attackers have to push in through single doorways.
Yeah.
That's where crossfires are massive. That's where keeping everyone alive is so important. And giving away picks like that in the early game, it's really going to harm you as we get later on.
But, I mean, FAV have got nothing to play off here. They haven't got a deployable shield that you'd usually play aggressively in that position, so instead we're seeing people aggress out of Cash. They've not got anything significant to fall back into. Very strange choice. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, we could be sat here eating our words. You know, if these impact tricks come off, well, the problem that you've got is you've already lost 2. You've got a couple of players off site, so you might have brought 10, but you may be only going to get to throw 3 or 4.
All you need to do is open up split hatch, and somehow we see 2 kills from Light. One of them being a Capcan trap kill. Oh no, Talon. I was going to mention the impact trick shouldn't be an issue for Yellow Wall because you have the Sledge alive. Sledge can go above, open up the verticality. The guy's not going to be able to impact if he's getting pressures from above, so that would be the way out. But at the moment, they've just struggled with a Capcan just sitting inside of Drug.
Anyone can, it's Capcan.
Look at him.
Light is eating up quite a bit of time here. Going to see a quick challenge there. That's going to be the second kill from outside to in.
Job done. They've killed the Thermite. No breaching. Now you have to walk in through these single doorways. It is just going to be a clog fiesta.
Well, there is time to get a little bit of drone info out there. You can see that Talon are flicking through those drones now. It largely is going to come down to these gunfights on the site. Still a couple of nades left for Demic. He's no doubt going to start throwing them out, but equally, Typon has got plenty of magnets to be chewing through all of that attacker utility. Shin going to pick himself up a kill onto Ash, eventually shutting down the only threat so far that Talon have posed. Soldier, he joins the party, but he's fairly late. Now 1 versus 2, trying to crawl his way in through Dragon. And Fav, 10 impacts is apparently the meta. Nailed it on that final kill. Bit of a sloppy attack that. If you're falling for a Capcan trap, it's never great, is it?
If you're just falling for somebody sitting inside a drug, what's going on there? How? The Thermite dying also? Do I need to say more?
Please.
I will say, though, from Fav, I mean, first round Capcans, it was pretty good for a big map like Theme Park, especially if you can apply a bit of chaos, which they did, I suppose, having the Capcan inside the drug, who did get the first kill. Capcan got the first kill, and then the trap came in to get the second. Whenever there is that moment of panic as an attacker where you've misdroned somebody, there's somebody sat in a corner somewhere else, as an attacker, you know, Talon are doing the good thing, they have to react to that. And then whenever you start reacting to it, you're going to be laser focused into, oh, I have to go kill this guy, I have to go kill this guy. Last thing you're thinking about is, there could be a trap in my doorway.
Exactly. It chews up so much time if you start trying to drone every single doorway that your entry or whoever is going to be walking on through. Obviously, we've got the ping system now, so it does make things a lot easier. And if you do get that thing spotted out nice and early, if you spot they've got a Capcan, you can start to try and drone that through, and you don't need to communicate as much because the yellow ping will stay there. But still, we saw it cause a bit of a problem. So much so that Light is going to be rocking the Capcan again. Going to be doubling up a couple of those traps, of course, to get that instant kill, and then just leave a couple on a single doorway or window and hope to achieve a little bit of chip damage as well.
The approach from Talon looks to be pretty default for a cafe-sided attack. You can just see the positioning. Generally, if we look at how Theme Park plays out in the attacks, good opening pick there as well. Again, for Talon, that's the second in a row they have. You will have to either push in through the east side, which is coming in through Cash and in through Initiation and trying to open up the main walls inside a bunk, or you come in from the more classical take that you probably see a lot more in your rank stacks, coming in through Cafe, using the break windows for an advantage that you can have and really trying to squeeze in those defenders as best as you can. So they will be opting for the Cafe take. The only thing you have to worry about if you're going to try and repel on those break room windows is there is 7 windows on that side of the map that you can jump out from as a defender. That's 7 windows that you have to watch. They have the Nomad in, so that should be enough, but you know, we've seen before, double jump outs can happen and certainly have affected those attacks in the past.
Couple of nades from below, not going to be successful in finding their mark. A quick hop through, and Light potentially could get caught looking the wrong way here. It was a devastating entry last time for Talon, and it'll be the same here and now, although this time it is a little bit more equal. Traded back out, 2 kills for Misa on that Ash. And all things level, 2 versus 2, just under half the round remaining. Seeing a little bit of a rotate now. The Oryx beneath going to try and make the way up those yellow stairs, but the plant is actually going to be going down here. Nice separation, nice cut off, and the plant, well, easily held. It is going to be confirmed. Now Yura, he's going to swing through, but gets taken on out. Must be off the back of a little bit of info. Ash is on a bit of a tear here. Eventually gets shut down by Shin. Can he find that final kill? Knows roughly where the diffuser is. Obviously, the air job there not helping him too much. Nice use of a Rotero drone to open up that soft wall and just give a little bit more of an angle onto that plant spot. And that's obviously something that Shin isn't necessarily going to be entirely aware of as he moves around. Now sees the rotate, knows the likelihood of somebody being inside of Cafe. Can he long arm it from here though, Demo? Looks like he might be able to. Is he going to stick it? No, eventually going to come off, but cannot win the gunfight. Hetty able to take him down. Nicely held in the post.
That was brilliantly played by Henny. Using the drone to open up another angle, it means that he can watch for the swing if it comes in, and he can also tuck his behind into the fridge. So you can't see him. We've seen, you know, Rook went for the peek.
Keep cold.
You can't see him. It's like Indiana Jones into the fridge.
He kept cool under pressure, didn't he?
Like a cucumber.
In the fridge.
What are you trying to get? What are you trying to get out here? On a cold winter's evening.
1 for 1 so far on Theme Park.
Looking forward to winter.
Locate and defuse bombs.
It is coming.
It is coming. Jon Snow?
Yep.
Not particularly.
Not particular, no. My favourite time of the year! Get Halloween over with, and Christmas songs will be in full flow. I don't want a lot for Christmas, Ollie.
What would you like?
There's just one thing I need. Anywho, 1-1. Good round from Talon. Good bounce back. Again, still very close. Came down to a 1v1 in that round, but I think FAV are doing well to certainly get the refrags, which I think's been very impressive from FAV, considering that they've actually went in the past 2 rounds, Ollie losing the opening pick.
Yeah, FAV haven't been too successful on that sort of early aggression that we're seeing them apply. They're likely going to be going for something similar here again, given the lineup that they've brought. It's again a lineup that, whilst you have utility, you also are leaving yourself a little bit light. Where's the mute jammer? You know, where's the smoke? Where's all this denial? Where's the go-yo? Where are all these things that we see as staple picks?
It feels as though FAV are just bringing in comfort operators. Oh, I want to play this. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll play this then. Okay. That's what it feels like.
Oh dear. Soldier. He got the yellow ping, but did not pull the trigger. Maybe waiting for the barricade to be open. Yura going to be trying to play a little bit more aggressively here, but hasn't actually got the shield. Does have the keeping barricades and can block up that window. Was greeted immediately with an Ossa shield, but has since rotated to a rather deadly position. Does get a glimpse, and it's enough to land a shot. Yura going to take down Soldier and pick up a second onto Demic. Only chasing the drone there, but still managed to find another. Still, the refrag is there, but a little bit too little too late. You've lost a lot of utility there as Talon. Shin now trying to join in and see if he can add on to some of that pain that initially has been dealt out by FAV.
Unbelievable, as we said from Yura there, to find only just the first pick, but the second one as well. Makes it all the more sweeter. Talon, this is where you worry for them, because they have shown signs throughout the season, Ollie. If the attacks don't really get going, they don't ever get going. It's really what we see from Talon. They're not the greatest team who can play well from behind. It just seems to go from bad to worse to round lost.
And there's certainly a bit of a stall out here whilst they've achieved the original goal, and they've managed to find a kill off the back of some great drone info there. Heady gets gifted an opportunity. Might mess up one of the Selmas, but he should be able to collect that and replace it. Wall now attempted to be open. Impact Trick coming in just to try and stop the full open. Going to make it a little bit awkward, a bit of a vault for the time being. Light still there, lying in wait with 1 impact. 1 in the hands of Shin, although he isn't really positioned to do all too much. Second impact Drake comes out, and it will be in time. But, of course, fortunately, because of the fluff throw, it isn't even going to matter. Canos now has got a lot to find here as he gets a good deal of damage in onto Afro. 30 seconds left. Going to throw out a flash and see if he can take this as an aggressive engagement. But no, the repeat is all that it takes. Talon falling apart on the entry.
Yep. Yeah, again, Talon just... What can you say? Things go wrong and there's not much they can do. I mean, I feel as though they should be ready for FAV swinging. Because there's a few times there where you just think, how have you allowed them to get away with that? You should be ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of those games, again, where we mentioned this doesn't mean a whole lot. You should be ready for your opponents in these kind of games just to take the brain out, put it in the bin, and then they go and play Siege.
I mean, that's what FAV are choosing to do at the moment.
That is what they're doing.
And
look at the operator selection. It's not structured. That's for sure. Let me tell you, this is not the norm for Theme Park that we see. It is usually a lot more information-based, which I don't think we're seeing at all, is the information game. I think we're seeing, a few Maestros, but in terms of bulletproof cameras, looking at Jaeger for a staple isn't there. Usually we look at Melusi for a bulletproof. She's taking the impacts.
I think it's not just the operator choices, it's also the secondary gadget choices, and all of that just leans into...
Yeah.
That FAV are playing... FAV look like they're playing Siege that they enjoy to play.
Yeah.
They're having fun with it.
Obviously, in our eyes, it is they've just booked a ticket to Tekkerstown.
Yes. For anyone unfamiliar or for anyone that's not been before, Tekkerstown is... It can be fun to go to on occasion, Demo. If you're in the right environment and you've got the right people with you, you can have a lot of fun in Tekka's Town.
It's vibes, absolute vibes.
But sometimes, if things do start going bad, and the Tekkas aren't there, you do need to dial it back and you need to play Smart Siege. But for the most part, if you're able to go out there and have a little bit of fun and swing every doorway,
you can very quickly go from Tekka's Town to Troll City. There's only one stop away from it.
No one wants to go to Troll City.
Troll City is.
If you fall asleep on the train to Tekka's Town, you wake up in Troll City, there's a big problem.
Oh, my goodness. What?
Well, there we go.
What are we doing?
A little timeout for Talon.
What are me and you doing? I just wonder.
And FAV have come back with some intel demo.
They have indeed.
They've come back with the Echo.
Echo, nice. Very nice. Again, still the impacts are there, of course, Ollie.
Obviously. Who needs a deployable shield? Who needs a piece of barbed? Overrated.
I'll be honest, I want to see Talon with some rushes.
I think that's
really
what they're missing. Because, okay, so we've got an Echo. That's going to be information and potentially plant denial. But you haven't got any area denial. You haven't got a go, you haven't got a smoke, you haven't got mute, you haven't got any C4s.
Yeah, no C4s.
There's a lot of stuff there that's lacking, and a very well-coordinated rush round would actually see Talon, you know, with the odds stacked in their favour.
And especially whenever you know FAV are out and about in their own game. They're out looking for the early aggression. They're going to be thin on sight. That's just the norm. But Talon, going for a very default lineup, isn't it? Very slow, you've got the Nomad in there, so you're looking to control the game as best as you can. Thermite. Make sure you don't lose the Thermite, because they lost it last time. Losing the Hard Breacher on again, a map that you look at a bomb set that has 6 reinforced walls that can all be opened up very easily.
Yeah.
You need to be opening those walls up.
I'd like to see Misa really
Look at this.
on that entry. Big rotation here. Demic going to find himself at the bottom of the Dragon, straight into sight.
Right,
Sees a player. Hello! Wake up! Jin finds 2. Misa manages to scramble one back. They came in through split. The diffuser cold on the ground. Yura shuts Soldier down with the diffuser cold. It's going to be very difficult from here on out. There's a good line of sight onto that as well. A nade flies in. Misa stuck inside of the armory side of sight. Maybe looking for a rotation over to the bottom of those arcade stairs, seeing if they can catch anybody out. But there's still an engagement to go on the throne. And Light positioned quite nicely here at that dragon door. Afro going to shut Misa down. The diffuser entirely on the other side. And Afro not done, looking for a second here. Is going to eventually find it. Oh dear, Demo. A Specsavers trip potentially. Good target prioritization. The Echo was prone in camera.
I thought it was really good.
You've got to take out the person that's alive. You've got to take out the person that's looking at you, granted. But there wasn't that full commitment from Talon. There was a very big desync.
Three of them committed. 3 of them committed to the push. The other 2 don't know where they were. And I thought it was actually really good. I mentioned that I'd like to see, you know, that bit of aggression, being able to rush in at a moment's notice. Whenever FAV do leave the site very, very thin, it was good until it wasn't. It was good until it wasn't. Not seeing that Echo, massive, massive blunder. Massive blunder. Not more else you can say. That happens in Siege.
It does.
In terms of strategically, it's not horrible, but just a moment like that makes it horrible. And I would say the other 2 players, again, just needed the commitment, which there wasn't any of that. There was no commitment into that push. You need, I'd probably say you have those 3 pushing in through Dragon. Then you have the other 2 jumping in barrel. Remember, the barrel was open. It was impacted open. That gives you a way into the site without having to worry about the Thermite.
10 seconds remaining.
Certainly a strange round from Talon.
5 seconds remaining.
But on the flip side of it, I feel as though this game has all the hallmarks of one that's going to last quite a while.
You reckon? That hasn't been the trend tonight.
Teams incapable of attacking.
Yeah.
You know, Talon are having a real torrid time of things on the attack.
But 5-1 is... It's not a case of... You know, certainly 5-1s are doable to come back on. It's just the mental strain.
It depends on then the commitment from FAV.
Because you're looking down the barrel of saying, we need to win 5 rounds here to get OT. It's not good.
Well, let's see what we can find in round number 5.
Do we have an announcement to make, Ollie? For those who don't know, we've got a new observer in today.
I'm not sure if we've got a lower third for this observer though.
Production, do we have the lower third for the observer for this game? Can we get that up? We'll not ruin it yet until you see it pop up. But we'll keep going. We'll keep watching the observer, see how well he does. Does that give it away?
I mean, it gives it away, yeah.
Jeez, look, that's half the population down.
Much slower approach here from TALON, isn't it? Almost looks as though they're scared. They haven't got that conviction on that entry. Again, they're going to lose out that opening engagement.
That rush would have hurt them.
It really would. The thing that's weird is that TALON have relatively good opening engagement stats. You look at someone like Demic, he's fantastic on the entry.
Great, yeah.
He's currently 1-4. He's second highest rated in the league.
Demic I see as he's either there or he's not. He is a very on his day player.
Yeah, on or off.
He has bad games and good games. Similar to, I think, what we've seen from Doki throughout the past as well, isn't it? Doki kind of fits under that category.
A little bit of info here for a nade to sail in on. Heady just going to take a little bit of damage there, but the defender more than capable of dipping away to the top of those arcade stairs, but they can't dip away from the fight. We do see a little bit of a commitment there, and finally a bit of a trade back here, giving the advantage briefly over to TALON. Typon on these yellow stairs. Misa is going to fall. No one really fully committing to that arcade clear, although Demic eventually was going to swing round and find one. But these kills are flying on through, so much so that Shin is going to be left here in the clutches 1 versus 3 as the old Ella. Now, Ella, bit of a throwback. You don't get to see a lot of Ella these days. Looks as though FAV have got a bit of information kicking around this time. There's at least one bulletproof, which is going to be looking directly in this location, so they can at least move on through and be conscious that the back is covered. But you've always got the punch holes to contend with. Never the easiest thing, especially when a player like Soldier slips themselves into that kitchen area.
Don't really know what FAV are doing, Ollie. That push from TALON was the exact same one they did the previous round they won that site, where they jumped in that arcade top window. They had one player, only one player in the break room windows, and FAV have just let them do it again. Baffled. Absolutely baffled.
Yeah, I think FAV really just gave that away there, didn't they?
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Which is a shame because they were, again, successful in that opening engagement. It's a stat line that they've been dominating so far this game. They do still have one round here in round number 6 to try and make this a 4-2. 4-2 split on theme would be very respectable for them, especially given the style of Siege that we've seen them play, where they have just been sort of baiting us with the odd, air quotes, team pick or more useful pick, and instead we're regularly seeing sort of 3 or maybe sometimes even 4 off picks where you would only expect maybe to get one, you know, person playing the Alibi or someone playing an Oryx, not necessarily someone on Alibi, someone on Oryx, someone on the Legion. But we do have the smoke this time from Shin.
We do indeed. We do indeed. I think Shin, he's been a real standout, hasn't he, today? All I think Anne mentioned about Shin and what he could bring to the party, which it's good to see. You know, he's an old player, old Shin. He's been around for donkeys at this stage.
I think TALON overall as a team, considering their place in the leaderboard, they've got a player in, I think, 3 out of the 6 stat lines that we cover here. Marble, he's fifth for rating. Demic, 2nd for entry. Marble, 2nd for cost. Eddie, 2nd for plants. And Soldier, 5th for plants. So on the whole, they've got players that hit these stat lines, but they don't seem to get the results. They maybe have big standout games here or there, and then get rolled the next week. And as you say, it does come down to that consistency.
They're a team that has potential. That's the best way, it's potential, but potential is, it's only just potential. It's not. It's nothing yet until it happens.
Typon playing a bit of a risky game here, conscious of the hatch, the door, and the window. Drone going to be sent in there just to maybe help root him out a little bit. Here's the goo mine go off, knows that that's potentially his cue to call. The Zofia Grismop charge going off as well, and Light gifted with 2. Great play there to harass the entry and make it just very difficult for these TALON attackers to push in. Heady has now got himself here into Cafe. He's going to have a pretty tough angle on his hands, and Typon sees to it that it's going to be nigh on impossible. Soldier on the upside down rappel. Minute 15 demo, 1 versus 5.
Just TALON jumping in 1 by 1. That's poor Siege from TALON there. That's a sloppy round to give away. I think FAV, you should know at this stage, after seeing FAV throughout these rounds, is the play style they're going to have. You need to be more coordinated against FAV on Theme Park. You just need to be, because FAV are just going to keep punishing you with the gun skill.
Who cares about air jobs? Air jobs don't matter.
No. That's what I'm saying. Just jump out even still. It's just repelling that break window is so difficult.
Well, the turn of the half, 4-2 here to FAV. I think a game that a lot of us had pinned as a Talon win. Still time, of course, for them to come back.
Well, there's a switch now, isn't it?
It just all comes down to these attacks. And I don't really care how FAV attack here. They can do slow and steady, structure, full site clears, 1, 2, 3s.
I mean, look at the state of that.
As long as they all commit.
Which I think they will if you look at this lineup.
And it looks like a very committed lineup. I tell you who's going to commit, regardless of anything else. It's going to be Light.
We are firmly in Techers Town.
Because as soon as that Gara hook goes through, they are committed.
There's a basement, remember? Well, I keep saying basement. It is the Armory Throne.
The ground floor.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just saw whenever I think of like really turtle bomb sites with a lot of walls, I always think basement. Just
it's
automatic.
just yeah. It's just
I don't know.
Bunker sites, isn't it?
Not going to be much use with the Amaru. Rightly so.
No.
On Sledge. Now we see the Blitz also come in.
Oh dear.
It depends what side are they rushing. Okay, it's going to be straight in through maintenance window, or maybe straight in through Gong double door, right into the bomb site. That is what they're going with. But they have to be quick. They have to make sure that they don't give Talon any form of heads up. Talon do have a pulse. They do have Maestro.
They have the heads up of their own, don't they? They have Soldier on the pulse, and he's going to be able to scan out, but he's, unfortunately for him, in Narnia, on the other side of the map inside a drug. But very quickly, you should realize, hey, no one's repelling here, no one's pushing Cafe.
And I mentioned before, on Theme Park, you either attack from the cafe side or you attack from the cash room side. If you know that nobody's towards the cafe side of things,
guess what?
They're all going to come cash. That's just the way it is. So it's good early information. We see that on maps like Villa, for example. You kind of have to pick your poison, what push you're going for, so then having the pulse just immediately lets you know.
Smoke deployed and a Glaz to try and make sense of it all. Shin going to push on through as the Blitz. Very quickly can take this ground. It's already been pre-droned ahead of him. A couple of pings going through as well.
Where's outside?
No presence inside of office is, of course, a little bit strange. We're seeing a couple of pocket reinforcements now just being placed up, barrels being closed off. Soldier, this is really where he can start to shine, start to gather a lot of this info. Obviously, he can just hang around in the site for the most part and still be able to be quite useful here. There is still going to be a little Malusi upstairs, and the Malusi will go for a swing. Misa does take a good deal of damage there. The Blitz comes on through and is eventually going to find the kill, or at least the down. Light there with the direct trade. But Misa isn't quite finished just there. Does still have an opportunity to try and peek off around this, and if they can land some shots, they might be rewarded. They do pick up a kill there over onto Europe, and maybe are just going to try and dip themselves out. Now, we've still got the Blitz downed on the floor. They should be getting recovered fairly soon. Light is in position to do so.
Light, help them.
But you've also got to remember that there is the pulse below.
Yeah, that pulse information. Right now, if you're Talon, you've kind of... You've seen Favs hold hand. You've kind of seen what they've exposed. They've been able to put down this rush. You can see what operators they have. Now you can just sit in sight. Because, I mean, what do Fav really have left? There's no smokes left for the glass. Where's the main pushing power from Fav? Sure, you have the Blitz, but he's on 2 HP. What's he going to be doing?
Yeah.
He takes one bullet to the foot, he's done.
And of course, Talon know that. They've already got him down. Fav do have a couple of nades to work with, and of course they do have the exthermic charges. We've seen one of them there burn to use to open up on the hatch. Maybe there's going to be an intention here of opening up the bottom of yellow. It looks as though Hedy is in position, although he's not going to be alive to detonate the nitro. A trade there coming on out, and another revive. This isn't what you want to be doing with only 5 seconds left. Where's the diffuser? A desperate flood into sight, and Demic just lines them up and sprays them down. The Alder in the final seconds is always going to be very deadly. There was an attempt, demo, from Fav, but it just wasn't joined up, was it?
I can see the intention, so you can go 2 routes with the rush. Obviously, you can just go into the bomb site, which is the more standard thing that we see. Or you can use these rush operators for a good roam clear. Because keep in mind, it's the same way. If you think about rushes and the way they work on site, you're looking to hit, stun, flash, impair everything that defenders on site are doing. You can equally do the same to the roamers, and you can. either way, you're going to be left in a situation where you will hopefully still have more attackers than defenders. And at that stage, if you know you've cleared out, maybe 3 roamers, you maybe lost 2 players, you're sitting at a 3 versus 2. You know the other 2 more than likely are just going to be in sight. And then you can just play nice and slow, the room clears down, you have a lot of time to do more standard edge siege whenever you look at those attacks. So that was the avenue they went from. Obviously, if you don't get the clearance, if you don't get the roamers, all they have to do is just walk away.
Yeah.
Site players don't have that comfort of just walking out the bomb site because you have to live and die to hold that. So if you don't have the upstairs pressure, you don't need to worry about anything. Yeah, it's just walk away and it's going to be no problem.
Well,
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb
it seems as though someone is really interested in this game, Demo. We had a guest observer for I think a round. I think that's all he managed, to be honest.
Yeah, I could tell.
Medic's saying 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
We've got Fresh. He's actually going to join us on the cast now. He's live and in the studio.
Hello. I'm walking around the studio.
I don't hear him.
Using my Madonna
Oh,
headset.
there he is. I hear him now.
You hear me now?
I hear you.
I observed 3 rounds and Emmy actually observed a round.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that the really bad one?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
There was one that I missed everything on. It was horrendous.
It's not easy, is it?
It's very, very hard.
It's Fresh and Emmy.
No.
Easy did the first 2 games. It's Medics doing these one. Medics is just...
No, honestly, I'm not talking. These 2 are talking. You don't need me.
What do you make of this game, Jack? You've obviously been sitting on the sidelines. I've seen you on the desk.
I feel like Talon have been really, really separate from each other. There's not been as much teamwork as you like to see, especially on those attacks. That little rush was a nice idea. Demo was calling for it, but even then they lose Diffuser and Narnia and the players pushing through. Didn't really go too well, did it?
They're letting FAV get away with murder.
Yeah.
Realistically. Just shouldn't happen. Oh, finally we're seeing, I think, the first bit of wall denial in the game. We see a kite be brought in. This is... we're on treacherous grounds, Ollie. We've never seen this before.
Well, we're seeing the kite be brought, and we haven't got any secondary EMPs. There is, of course, ways and means of dealing with this cage charge, but you've usually got to get eyes on to in an attempt to try and deal with it, and especially if it's going to be tucked away. The Rotero drone is maybe the best course of action here.
They're firing on a lot of utility. I mean, realistically, Jack, Talon just kind of sit in their hands, don't they? It's all down to FAV who have to make the plays.
Yeah, there's literally on the Roteros that can actually clear out the electricity there as well, which is it's a big stumbling block for them because they're going to have to force their way through the break doorway or potentially vault, and both of them are pretty big choke points.
Boosting adrenaline.
Any swings? Nobody wanting to go for it? I think Yura right now needs to try and get this kill, but damn it, behind that bomb chassis, it's such a strong position and can't really challenge onto it too well. Just FAV right now stalling out. You can see that their initial aggression just hasn't been met. I think losing that early, man, we've mentioned so many times, losing that opening death on theme park attacks, it is torture.
It's really not a place that you want to be, is it? Because not only do you lose the gun, but you lose a lot of that utility. And Shim, for the most part, has had a reasonable game so far. You're going to try and trade something back here. Takes Demic down, who by all accounts is not having the performance that I think Talon would maybe have liked him to. Great nade over the top there from Light. It's going to free up access to the top of these yellow stairs, but it's going to be a flurry of kills in these final 5 or so seconds. The diffuser is going to be going down, but is the retake potentially on here? Misa, you've got a lot of work to do. Swings the corner, Devo. Picks up 2 there in the final few seconds. Not easy to do there, especially with the SMG.
The time, again, it was FAV stalling out for so long, and you actually thought there, how on earth are they actually in position where they're getting the diffuser down with a man advantage, but then the time gets away from them. One simple kill that Misa had to pick up, and then gets the easy kill onto the planter.
Why are they planting there? I mean,
there's nowhere else they can. There's nowhere else.
There's no
That's
time.
it. That's all they can do.
But it can't be covered. It wasn't covered.
I mean, there was a guy covering, he just lost his engagement. You lose the one, that's it. The other guy was in arcade, he was trying to hold the other push in. Just the way it is, you lose your one, you lose your one. That's on him.
It's time and information, right? Obviously, they had no drones, they had no idea where the defender is. One guy's got to hope he comes from arcade, one guy's got to come. He hopes he comes from yellow's side. You lose that fight, he swings the plant. Round 1, and it's, you know, it started off with not being able to clear arcade claw, wasting a minute or so on that, and it snowballs all the way into losing the round in a clutch scenario.
Just flusters you, just gets the panic, and I think in a map like Theme Park where it's not your quintessential run around the map where you can just really do whatever you want. It is structured. It is on the same lines as what we see Clubhouse, what we see Villa kind of become into, where if you put 1 foot out of place, you will be punished very, very heavily. that's just what FAV's dealing with. And I think obviously Talon was the same. On the attacks, you will get punished if you slip up.
Yes.
And that's just the way it is.
And I'll cast your mind back to a couple of rounds ago when I said that this could be a reasonably long game because it all depends on their ability to attack. And so far, FAV's ability has been very similar to that of Talon's.
They take this defense, I can see 7-4, because that means they've won the full rotation.
Yeah.
And really, FAV, what have they shown us?
Well, they've not shown us an attacking win yet, have they? That is a big problem. Now, they're going to be ringing the Dokkaebi this time. We don't really get to see the Dokkaebi too much after the recent buff. Of course, Dokkaebi Logic Bomb phone calls now affect players in support mode, so if they are in the cameras.
Finally have an excuse to not watch cams, Jack.
That's so true. I mean, Dokkaebi's so good on this map as well because you're either going to run out of time or you've got to take some risks. What does Dokkaebi enable? You can call and you can basically gauge via the sound whether the immediate few rooms around you are clear or not. It allows you to take a little bit more risk. You know, for example, type on here. If he heard Dokkaebi call, he knows there might be somebody armory thrown, lockers, bottom yellow, wherever. Now doesn't have to take that risk by just kind of solo peeking it.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Still, plenty of info here to gather. Something that Talon are doing here, Demo, that FAV showed absolutely no intention of is they're running the mute.
First mute, isn't it?
And the mute goes really well with the Dokkaebi because you can cleanse yourself of that phone call. We've got a couple of players here really huddled in around the mute jammer. Obviously not only for the drones, not only for denial, but also the Logic Bomb phone call comes through. And guess what? Players get cleansed. They go near that mute jammer and all of a sudden, no phone call.
In my opinion, I think Mute is probably the most flexible defense operator that we actually have. He can do really everything. Wall denial. Oh, talk about denial. Kanos tried to go for the big old swing, but Yura shuts him down in his tracks. And Talon tried to get a little bit of aggression going, but nope. Being shut down, but back onto the Mute comment, Ollie. Just, it fills a lot of holes. It can shotgun. You got the SMG for good swings, the C4 denial, the wall denial, the drone denial. You know, ticks so many boxes. Essentially, Afro pulled out the God 6 and still wins it. What a messy, messy gunfight, Talon. They've actually just fallen apart. I mean, FAV realistically haven't really done anything too genius. They've just kind of sat, hold their angles, took a couple of swings, and it's worked for them.
FAV are getting away with it here, aren't they? And the Finker boost came in pretty big as well in Afro's gunfight. Going to find himself one here as the plant is going to be going down. Likely to be confirmed. Heady, tough task ahead. 1 versus 3. Very low health Afro, needs to be careful here. But is he going to get past the first engagement? Does achieve the down onto the already very weak player. Draws for the secondary. But now we know Heady's location. And he doesn't realize that he's in a pinch. In the meat grinder, Shin on one side. There's going to be enough there to pick up that final kill. And finally, Demo, we do see a FAV attack.
Seen you slip into the Astrocom there.
Did.
You'd love him that much. He lost yesterday. Liquid beat them.
Which Astro? Oh, the yep.
That's Liquid.
Phase Astro, not Secret Astro.
Liquid W7M in.
Because of course there are 2 Astros, Demo, not just one.
Yep.
Not the one and only.
A lot of times getting spicy. Jack, watched any of it?
No, it was actually on the same day as EUL, wasn't it? So some of the elimination games. So not watched any of it yet.
We'll see. We'll still.
But we've got 2 teams through, 2 teams to go.
APAC South tomorrow. Find out the final team from APAC South, don't we?
Yes, Gaming Gladiators off Fury.
Yes.
A little around the world update with Demo and Fresh.
Everything else is, well, again, EU still.
EUL on Monday, yep.
Oh, some fun on Monday night. Tune in for that. What a day.
Now, Demo, in your wisdom.
Wisdom, yes.
Has Demo got wisdom?
My Gandalf. What am I?
Are FAV going to be able to get another round on the attack?
Well, this is, now we move into the more defender-sided bomb site to say we go to the Armory and Throne.
This is where they struggled.
FAV went for a rush composition, but didn't end up rushing. They tried to use the rush operators to actually clear out the roam game. The roam game was, they just fell back, they just laughed as soon as they knew they heard a Glazy or a Blitz. Time to get out, time to leave, and then at that stage, FAV are out of gas. They've used everything to get to the halfway marker. They didn't bring enough.
I do wonder if they've realised how to attack using the Dokkaebi. If you looked how they attacked last round, they used the Dokkaebi, they used the nades to try and soften these roamers up and then wait for them to fall in line, fall into the crosshairs. It was a really good poke strategy. So I'm wondering if FAV have kind of realised that that's their win condition for the attack. I hope they stick the Dokkaebi throughout the rest of their attacks because it did work wonders for them in the last round.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to bring it, especially when it's open.
Yeah.
FAV have been bringing more useless, air quotes, operators than Dokkaebi, so surely they can squeeze a Dokkaebi into the lineup somewhere. Something they have this time, a little bit of a change out from last, is they've actually brought the Ying demo.
Yeah, I was gonna
now we saw the Glaz and the Blitz combo, but a Ying does a very similar thing in that they are a bit of a beachhead.
She's 2-in-1. She has the smokes, and she also has the ability to flash players, doesn't she? So she is dangerous in that position. I just wonder, again, are they going to use that utility same way they use Glass, same way they use Blitz? Is that utility going to be used on clearing the roamers, or will it be saved for actually pushing the site? FAV, all they've done is very minimalistic. They have taken control of cache, they've taken control of security upstairs, and they've said, okay, that's all we need. Now we can just go and full-on push into the site. They have the Ying, they still have utility. So what's stopping them realistically? Look how many players from TALON are actually in sight. There's only 2 of them.
Poor old Demic's not really got much to go on at the moment because of the Rotero drones they've already been through, and they've already cleared out a lot of that utility. Misses out on the impact. Very well placed exothermic. Now we're going to see the Ying canisters come through under the cover of the smoke. Players going to be scrambling to get themselves back onto site. Demic picks himself up one and leaves the diffuser cold, but it will be very quickly recovered. Quickly tucking away into various corners in and around the site are FAV, as they are going to be successful in getting that plant down. Heady and Soldier now have the tough task of a retake. Not a lot of utility to speak of, and only one body left. Soldier, he finds himself a long shot over onto Euro, but with that wall being open and the remaining members of FAV scurrying around the map to safety, it's going to be rather difficult now to pull off a retake. Trying to break these engagements down, lands a good few shots over onto Soldier, but we often call the MPX a little bit of a pea shooter, and that was certainly one of those scenarios.
Oh, that was a great attack. I love seeing that. It was very smartly played by FAV. They were able to set up that roam clear. They didn't have to chase the roamers this time. They didn't give away any kills. All they wanted to do was stop them from playing verticality above. That's all they wanted to stop them do. They kind of almost scared, I think, TALON into that. TALON maybe retreated a little bit too early, but then what a great execute from FAV, being able to utilize those Jink and Dells that they saved up. They done exactly what they needed to. The guy who was planting, immediately as soon as he got in, just planted, because he knows the Ying's going to cause the commotion. Ying's going to be the main attraction to the defenders. She's going to be the light bulb to all the moths. That's the position that they were in. And also, I must say, I think Demic missed the impact grenade. If that impact trick goes off, you're in a different situation there if you are FAV. So very, very fortunate. But Demic, if you're playing the impacts, you're playing the Maestro, you need to be hitting those, son. You need to be.
Bomb located by attack.
I can't wait to see what TALON do here in response. Do they stack the site? Or do they try and contest on that roam game a little bit longer and be a bit more of a threat? Because there's a bit of a change coming out in the lineup. We're seeing back to almost the more familiar setup of the Amaru that didn't work back in round number 7. My main worry here is that we've dropped the Dokkaebi. The Dokkaebi, as Fresh said,
2 successful rounds, isn't it? Back to back.
You know, you've won 2 attacking rounds and you brought Dokkaebi twice. There's a little bit of a correlation there. To now choose to not bring it in favor of Hibana, who not quite inferior hard breach on this site, but you would prefer something else. Maybe a bit of a question.
That exact same floor as drones
So
happened
free.
again. That's how many times have I seen that?
I mean, at least keep her up the drone hole.
This is where mute. I'm telling you.
Well,
You can mute that drone hole for free where it's impossible to get, yeah.
Oh, what a pick. What a pick from Light.
Is that it?
Takes Misa down, the highest performer so far on TALON. Really the only player that we could say has stepped up in any way. And that is all he needs is the cue to call to Amaru hook his way in straight to Canos.
A classic there.
Short-lived.
A little bit of an overheat there, to be honest. Gets kill, thinks, do you know what, I'll take on the world.
Where was the hamburger call?
Yeah.
On the world.
That's me in ranked.
We've all been there.
I get 1 kill and that's it.
You're in.
You're in. Just, you do too much. Do less, I think is probably the best motto there for Light.
Less is more. Mies van der Rohe. It's a quote.
I think the problem with that as well is he's designed to go into that window as the main push is coming out and clearing across from cache and that cache side to basically cut the rotate, but he was the first one in. therefore the entry def, and now obviously Euro's been C4'd as well. It's the attack was looking good, no it's not, because they're now at man disadvantage, low time, and it's going to be tricky, especially with the pulse information.
I don't know what FAV are going to do here with a minute to go. They've only just got Shin in sledging. Also, don't know if you picked up on that, Ollie. Kenos actually has reinforced the barrel wall. Remember, that was opened up.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's where the attackers can maybe see that and say, oh, well, we do have a way in. We do have a way to get at the bomb site. So reinforcing that up, that's a great play, because now you kind of deny access. I think you probably were looking there for Shin. He was looking to drop in towards barrels, maybe utilize that. But this, oh, it's reinforced now. Now we have to go somewhere else.
Shin going to catch himself a freebie there onto Heady. Heady just dipping out of the safety that was that bathroom. And that is going to open up the bottom of this yellow stairs now. We can start to deploy these Hibana pellets. A nade can go through to avoid any sort of impact tricking. And that will now be the breach open. But a push through the bottom of yellow and split is always going to be a risky one. Keeper barricades now can continue to block up some of these lines of sight, and that's quickly going to be cleared by the sledge. 15 seconds left to go, and a very good idea here for Talon as to where the push is coming from. All you've got to do is point Demic in the right direction, and he's going to start chaining the kills together. Picks himself two. Kanos second on the round as well to close things out. Not today, not yet, Fav.
That is a perfect example of why Hibana is not good for that bomb site. You may be thinking, oh, there's a lot of walls, you're going to need a hard breacher. Oh, Hibana, that's a hard breacher, that's really good. The only issue with Hibana is the holes that she makes are not big enough. That has always been the main issue with Hibana. If you're looking to push in for plants and execute, that's where Thermite's going to be better, because you get those at big holes. Ace is obviously kind of the medium between them, but Thermite is always going to be king on that attack. He's always going to be the best choice, because it just opened things up. Look how easy it was for that Maestro, just to sit and hold a sliver of an angle.
It's even one of Thermite's voice lines, for goodness sake. The way that I look at it is, Hibana is great for multiple...
She's the Queen of Hatches.
Queen of Hatches, multiples lines of sight.
Ace is the midway between that. Thermite, you want the walls open.
Ace is more line of sight based. Where
he's good because he can make decent-sized holes from range, which is good.
You can choose.
He's not as good as Hatches, obviously.
And then Thermite is the GOAT for the 3-2-1.
I know you're probably thinking Maverick. When are we seeing Maverick play these days? Maverick's fall. Has anyone noticed Maverick's play rate?
Is Maverick still in this game?
Maverick is the nades. I knew it was going to. As soon as the nades got gone, I knew that was going to be a sleeper killer for him. It's happened.
It's quite literally only on Clubhouse you will ever see Maverick now, and even then teams still prefer to go with
banned, so
a million other methods of getting that breach.
I haven't seen a Maverick in God knows how.
I mean, we've seen the trend. IQ lost the nades, gone. Even to an extent, Buck losing the nades, fell out for a big time. Capitao was the same. These operators, you get the nades and then they're gone. It's
Thermite?
Thermite's go way back to year one, that, buddy. But no, it's just, sad to see an operator just go down like that.
How has this happened that Afro's now playing Maverick?
What?
We've just been ranting about Maverick as he's
all been looking at each other in the
onto it.
conversation. Now we look at the screen, it's like, oh great, the Twitch chat's screaming, there's a Maverick being played.
I think he went off the Dokkaebi as well. The Dokkaebi that was a big win condition that was helping them so much with the information.
And why bring a grenade?
Yeah.
Why bother bringing nades when you can bring so many flashes?
Maverick's he's the only hard breacher they've brought, and he's not a good hard breacher. This is the thing. He's only good for clearing away bandits and immune jammers. He's kind of like the sub-Thatcher that's kind of like a breach. Even Maverick doesn't know what he is. That's the issue. Maverick doesn't know if he's a hard breacher. Do I remove denial? I don't know. But he's not a fully fledged hard breacher. You need someone else with it.
Why have the biggest problem of this last round was that Electroclaw.
Yeah.
They brought a perfect counter in the Twitch. But now they've got no one to act upon it.
What's he doing?
You've not even got a secondary gadget.
He's swinging for no reason. Troll City. Didn't know no one would get here, but
just 5 things, right?
We've arrived. Jack, you fan of Troll City? You've been there many times.
Yep. It's like Fav know that I've got my Twitch channel points on them because there was a good return, and they've decided at match point, do you know what? We'll bring a Maverick and we'll actually try and Maverick trick this wall open. Obviously, like I say, they got the Cade Claw. This could have been opened by literally about 7 or 8 different operators, including the hard breach charge that could have been better. Buck could have brought the hard breach charge, and it would have been much faster and much better for the team.
Taking far too long to open up this wall from FAV, and FAV, they were looking good. They had a bit of steam behind them. The Dokkaebi was working so well. Dokkaebi's gone, and they've lost the next 2 rounds pretty much. I don't see them winning this one. I think Talon now just have to sit in their hands.
Talon just needs to be patient, don't they?
Yep.
They've been gifted an opportunity here to take this one to an overtime.
What's going on?
And all they're really going to have to do is wait for the eventual collapse of FAV, because it is going to happen. Now, unless this 3-2-1 ends up being something spectacular, and we see TALON really misplay and get themselves into harm's way, I really don't see this going any other way. We've got smoke canisters now to cut off any sort of flow. I'm probably going to go for a little bit of a risky rotation there. Finds himself at the top of yellow stairs. Now, he can, of course, cut off the rotating player from down. Canos. He's likely going to be caught out of the action for now. Afro going to be gifted a freebie. This may be his cue to call. Could potentially try and trade off Light here as well as Shin makes his way in. But look at the time. 7 seconds left to go and only just pushing into the site. Playing Ring Around the Rosie with players out here on Arcade Balcony. The plant is now going down, but there's live information and a C4 with their name on it. Damn it! Picks up the final kill and stops that plant from going down. TALON claw their way into an overtime.
It's always time. It's always time, isn't it, that's costing them. And I'll harp back on about it. What cost them the time? The fact that they're having to Maverick open a breach. Their win condition we keep talking about was Dokkaebi. What does Dokkaebi also bring if you can't breach? EMP grenades, impact EMPs. It's a very simple solution. You lose out on smokes, but you gain out on time, and you gain out on denying the defender's information, which clearly was your win condition for the rounds you won.
I mean, we've criticised
A frustrating round.
every turn here with what they've brought in terms of secondary gadgetry.
On defense.
In round number 1, 10 impacts. No problem. Bring 10 impacts. Hello? And there's okay, there's maybe some confusion, but there's certainly better things that can be brought. And it's frustrating because we see this sort of a lineup where you go, yeah, you know what, I can get behind that. We've got the Dokkaebi, we've got the Thatcher.
It's a good lineup from FAV.
We've got the nades, we've got the Buck, we've got Flores now. This is getting even better. Let's get rid of the Thinker and all of a sudden we'll have a meta 5.
Thinker with the flashes, I suppose you can bring that in. Oh no. What's going on?
5 seconds.
Oh, but let's just change it all around again. Yeah, we'll bring the IQ.
What? Oh, just.
They've seen a pulse and just gone, right, we've got IQ.
Again,
Done.
this is the Armory Throne, and they've brought the Habana again. This is not good enough.
Drop the diffuser.
The Habana is not good for this. Thermite is the we looked at the lineup, thought, yeah, this is better. And it's just...
Cover the diffuser.
The
Yeah,
lineup was
IQ,
so good.
yeah,
It just went
I mean-
to being weird and then bad.
Attackers have located
Albeit,
a
I
bomb.
suppose Pulse has gave them a bit of a headache.
It has.
So you can understand. But I still think that Dokkaebi was crucial for this team. And the
Well,
Thermite.
it helps root out the Pulse as well. Especially with the lack of mute that we've seen in this game. We've only seen mute in a handful of rounds.
Yeah, probably 2 rounds, I think. It's only 2 rounds.
Demic, he's ready this time, Demo. He's got his eye trained on the drone hole. He's not going to let that Flores drone come through this time.
Soldier's basically played in the same positions every time he's played Pulse, hasn't he? He's on the exact same rotation.
Yeah, he starts off in drug, yeah.
and then he goes in the site.
Yep.
Exact same rotation. And they know it. Look, there he is. They know he's there.
And again, no one really needs to act on it. It's just knowing is the important thing at the moment. Okay, one person outside cafe. That's all we need to know. Shin? Is he maybe going to go chasing? A bit of a pre-fire there into the bathroom, but Soldier will be as safe could be. That bathroom stall going to be providing all the protection that he needs. Now we're starting to see Flores drone come in. Is Demic ready and awaiting?
Exact same.
The moment that he turns his head.
Just
I mean, that's not going to work, I'm afraid.
free for free. It's, again, just constant.
Opening kill this time for Misa. Successful on holding off that cafe. The pulse from below providing the information, and Misa just able to peek off it as and when required. The removal of the Thinker. Any little health stims in the final few seconds are going to be no longer. Great kill there from Soldier onto Shin. Oh, Demo, this is falling apart. This is terrible stuff here for FAV. Not even able to find anything in response. Eventually, Typon will shut down Heady. Can now make his way down Dragon, but already you can see the rotation, and you can immediately see Soldier jumping into his scanner. We do still have one player above, one C4 in pocket as well, so always got to be mindful and careful of that. Nades from above now from Light. Could see a little bit of damage, or even a kill over onto Soldier. Where was that a whole minute ago?
I mean, FAV, they do good things, but for the most part, the bad outshines the good that they are doing. Just the time management from them at the moment is not on, and Again, now you're pushing in just a single doorways, the crossfires. How many times have I mentioned the single doorway crossfires? Ho, dive bomb absolutely picks up Arcanas, but no. The Maestro in behind the throne can just swing. Another crossfire being established by Talon. And well, now they're actually in the lead.
It's impressive stuff from them. They've just set the stall out. Here's the win condition. We've got the information on the pulse, on the information on the Maestro. We're going to do a roam, aim to get back to site. And that's exactly what they do. We know what we're going to get with Talon. It's a very consistent approach. Like you said, the pulse is always in the same information. And then for FAV, I think one of their big problems, other than like we can criticize the operator selection and the secondary gadget selection, is also that Eura's trying to be the one that's initiating these fights, but also
so
losing the
many times,
entries.
yeah.
How many times have we seen a 4v5 for FAV where Eura's dead?
And the thing is, whenever he's going for these aggressions, no one's with him.
Yeah, that's the point. There's no refrag, there's no...
Because you see some of the best teams in the world, yes, they may have some headless chicken who moves in and just hunting for the kills, but if he does die, somebody's there immediately for the refrag. Straight there. You need to say, get on my behind. If I die, you are killing the guy who I did not. And
that's the problem with no proximity to your entry, to your first attacker in, is that when he dies, if you're 5-10 seconds behind, you've then got to redrone it. You've then got to waste even more time to actually go and take that ground and retake that engagement.
You need to have that partnership with whoever you're entering in. It's like, yeah, having two strikers up front, isn't it?
Yep.
You need to be able to communicate with one another.
The frustrating thing is that in this game so far, FAV have had something like 7 entry kills.
There's 10 impacts.
They're actually doing well.
10 impacts.
On the entry. Oh, we're back to 10 impacts. Mint. So it's a stat line that they don't do terribly in, but again, there's that consistency. You think about dealing with Misa in that position. Who's on the hatch? Get someone on the roof, get someone on the sunbathing to that. So let's get somebody on the hatch just throwing a little bit of pressure down. It really doesn't, you know, it's frustrating because we see what FAV are capable of, but we just don't always see it in every single round in a joined up sort of way. It's very disjointed. And now we look over at the side of Talon and we go, oh, panic Monty pick. It's match point, bring the Monty. I think it might work for them, to be honest, because I'm not sure if FAV are going to be really capable of dealing with it.
I look at the Monty as it makes a lot of sense. Whenever you know FAV are just running around, we've seen that during their defensive halves. Yeah. Monty's going to be that human drone. He's going to be able to move in at a very low risk of dying, which I think is important for a team like Talon, where they have been giving away that opening pick. Send in someone who literally cannot die, and then they do that.
I'm not sure why Misa's peeking that. There was info there were drones working in and around. With the Logic Bomb phone call was only moments away, seconds even. And all of a sudden the first pick is given up. Just makes things a little bit harder from here on out for Talon. The fortunate thing is that the Monty doesn't really have a lot of utility to be going up against. Sure, he's got the Legion goo mines, but it's not as though there's shields and... Well, it's not as though there's a lot of shields and a lot of, you know, stuff like that to really start wading through. Obviously, the Melusi Banshee is going to cause a little bit of a headache. The Keeper barriers potentially. But this wall...
I don't think it's going to get open. There's no way I think Talon can actually force their way through without taking above. Because realistically, if you know you're up against all these impacts, trying to go maintenance or barrel wall is not going to be viable. Because if you look at the actual upstairs and where the verticality is, all of it's going to be away. But never mind, they've been able to sneak it in. Oh dear, for Talon. Is that a full walkthrough? Does Monty have to crouch to get into it? Because that is quite decisive. If he has to crouch to get through that wall, there's going to be an issue.
It may be a crouch. It doesn't actually look tall enough. Demic can start to get a good idea of what's on the other side of that note, though. Glaz working through those smokes. Another one going to get popped on in, gets a glimpse and gets a headshot there onto Taibang and swing round for another. Bree fires his way onto a second. Now Monty can get in regardless of the crouch. Does get caught inside of the goo mine. He's going to need to take that out for the time being. 30 seconds left and Soldier with the diffuser is going to start to try and nail it to the floor. Light, you're going to have to get active here. You've got to move and do something. He picks himself up. Demic on the triple head. He picks up 2. Unable to find anything there as Talon, they pull around out of nowhere. Some coordination there for us, Demo, in that final one. A little bit of a Monty play, and it does just go to show. Imagine 1C4 there. Anything to give you the little bit of an edge.
Yeah, just the operator selection, I think, throughout the general course of FAV just was not it for how you have to play Theme Park. We've mentioned it is a structured map. You have to play a certain way. I love the Glaz pick. I think Glaz is always going to be strong. I've always said I think Glaz is just a very strong operator, one that probably doesn't get the same praise as what maybe he should. Yeah. Only operator who can do what he does.
Yes,
you can see from
absolutely. Absolutely.
smokes, has a great kit. You can have that secondary bearing now. And also, of course, he's a free speed. People still forget he is very, very fast. You can still just swoop in at any moment's notice. And that does help you just move a little bit quicker through the smoke.
You were really excited when that got announced, weren't you? You were really excited when that's 3-speed. Trust me, it's going to be the next big thing. Trust me, it's
now
going to
we
be the
make
next big thing.
Blackbeard free speed, and now we're cooking.
Nah, right, calm down. I'm going to have a chat with Demo. We're going to throw this one to a short break. Don't go anywhere. Our desk is ready to break that game down for you.